Humanity Matters.
Hello, my name is Arnie Herz, and welcome to Habits of a Whole Heart. This is on hmTv as part of the Humanity Matters series. Thank you for tuning in. This is episode number 2 with my dear friend, Joy D'Andrea, who, as I mentioned in the first episode, is a healer par excellence who has offices in New York, Italy, and Japan. And she travels widely teaching healing and wholeness, what she calls unity, to people. In a world of tremendous fragmentation, Joy gives us a pathway towards unity, towards a sense of wholeness, and in that sense of wholeness, a sense of empowerment. So, Joy, thank you again for joining me. And the first episode was excellent. We were just left off on the point where you were saying that when we judge someone else, it is in effect a projection from what's within us. Mm-hmm. So we see the fault in someone else, but yet it's really something that's going on inside of us, which I'm very fascinated about, because this is something that the founder of Hasidus, of the Hasidic movement, the Baal Shem Tov, often talked about, that what you see in others is a projection out. And he said this back in the late 1600s. So I'm fascinated by that. And then number 2, I raised the question, how do you discern the difference between just judging someone that's a projection of you, or where someone is acting out in a way that is clearly not in alignment with what is appropriate or healthy in the world?
So my quick answer to that, and I'll elaborate on it, is one has to do with us and the other one doesn't, right? When I see something that's horrifying outside of myself in the world, I can have many feelings about that. If I judge it, I make it personal. It has nothing to do with me, really, what somebody else is doing, no matter how horrifying it is. I could say it's horrifying, it is scary, it angers me, I feel hatred around it, all those things, right? And we're talking about negative feelings. It happens with positive as well. But if I just stay in judgment, I make it personal. Somehow I'm involved in it. Again, I'm a victim of it in some way, right? If I let myself have my feelings around it and then bring the judgments back and say, well, why do I feel hatred around that? Well, do I allow myself to feel hatred? Right? If I say they're doing something violent, do I let myself look at where there's violence inside of me? And then coming back to, if I can have that, I'm going to say, degree of separation, where I separate out what's happening there from my judgments of it. And I look at myself. Where do I judge? Where am I cruel? Where do I hate? Right? We all have these places that we are not proud of and certainly don't want to act out on, and we see them acted out here. But if I can work with that in myself, I have more agency, initiative, power to be able to say, what can I do about that? What can I do about that? I need to not be enmeshed with that, with the judgment. The judgment still has an aspect of my process in it. It doesn't change what that is, whatever it is. You know, the horrors that we see sometimes, the cruelty that we see sometimes. But just judging it doesn't change anything. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Let's put it into practice.
Okay.
Let's take, for example, people marching on a college campus, chanting "Globalize the Intifada," and targeting Jewish people who were wearing kippahs or Jewish stars, preventing them from going to classes. So I see this as a Jewish leader. I watch the video. I see it happening. And I'm very appalled. I'm upset.
Yeah.
I'm upset about it.
Okay.
And I think that there'd be something wrong with me if I wasn't upset about it.
Absolutely. But what I'm hearing right now, Arnie, is your feelings about it, not your judgment towards it.
Okay, so I have a judgment that these people are idiots. These people are being controlled by somebody else. They're either have evil intentions or they're just useful props and being controlled by somebody else without thinking. And as a result of that lack of thinking, they're perpetrating this evil to a group of people who don't deserve that evil.
So you got a couple of things going on there, Arnie. The projection is they're idiots. Okay. I would imagine you never want yourself to be an idiot.
Right.
That's the judgment. Okay.
Right.
Simple. The rest of your thought process really is a curiosity. I don't feel a lot of judgment in it. Those things that you mentioned are valid questions. You know, where are they? Are they being controlled by someone? You know, where is their lack of education making them vulnerable to that sort of manipulation? You know, and those are important questions. You know, they're idiots. Okay, that's the judgment. You take that back and you look at, you know, what does that mean to you to be an idiot? Would you ever allow yourself to be an idiot, or would you avoid that at any cost?
Avoid it.
Okay, so that's the projection. That's the judgment. But the other questions are useful. And I think, again, discernment, separating out what is the judgment versus what are really relevant questions here. Because the relevant questions can help you to work with that in some way. If you just say they're idiots and they're, you know, and follow that train of thought, where do you go with that? How do you work with that? You can't. It's like a dead end.
Right now. So I want to take it back to what you said in the first episode. For those of you who didn't watch the first episode, just going into the second episode. So when I think about that situation, I notice that I am focused on the outside.
Right.
I'm agitated on the inside.
Right.
So if I'm following what you're saying, I need to slow it down.
Bring it back.
Take a few breaths. Notice that I'm upset. Notice I'm feeling agitated.
Are you angry?
Angry.
Okay.
Probably fearful.
Okay.
More fearful than angry.
Right, because anger usually very often sits on top of fear. If we get through the anger, most people just stay in the angry and get going with that. But if you could stay with the anger, usually there's sadness or fear underneath it.
Yeah, exactly.
Sadness,
fear. And a lot of sadness that this is where we're at as a society, that this is how people are behaving and how it's impacting other people in such a negative way. So
So in that moment, right, it's already shifted. The energy has already shifted from when you first spoke about this. What's here now? Now that you've moved through the idiots to the anger, to the sadness. Once you connect with the sadness, what's here?
Well, it's first sitting with it.
Yeah.
And you know, it's painful to sit with it. It's not, instead of trying to push it away, I'm processing it right now.
Right.
There's just like just being with it. And as I breathe a few times, there becomes an acceptance that this is what I'm feeling, and that this is normal, healthy, okay, nothing to run away from. And what starts pivoting to a wish for harmony and peace, and perhaps in your words, unity that we can treat each other with decency and respect.
Right.
It's profound, a profound shift. And as I see, I'm literally, as I'm doing it right now, that shift, and it's easier for me to do it for those who are watching at home because
How long
I've
have you
done
been
this
doing this, Arnie?
for many, many years. As you said, it's easier said than done. Is that I feel the anxiety, the stress sort of melting away, feeling a certain stillness, a certain acceptance, and a clarity of what I want to bring is love, peace, harmony. So if I'm agitated, I'm bringing my agitation, I'm bringing my judgment, I'm bringing my fear, I'm bringing my lack of empowerment. Now, I'm bringing a sense of wholeness, clarity, and it's a very different vantage point.
Yeah.
And I feel much more empowered. And now I think about so much of the work that we're doing to advance the Abraham Accords. You know, I've been involved in that for a number of years. AJC, American Jewish Committee, has been very, very involved with that for many years. And we see of the building bridges with the Arab world, the Muslim world, that there are so many people who feel the same way, who are doing incredible work, who are moving away. And now I see, okay, that's where I could put my energy.
Interesting, right? Nothing out there changes in the process, right? We want something out there to be different. But the only power we have, the only agency we have is from here.
So if I was going to sum up or frame it in a certain way, it goes back to what you were saying at the very beginning, that everything we see in this world is truly a mirror to what's going on inside, and that the work is to transform the inside.
Absolutely.
And that whatever it is, go back inside.
Yeah.
And then from that inner place, bring out your light. So it was very interesting. Yesterday was the Chabad movement's kinnis or conference of the rabbis who are the emissaries of the Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who was a great tzaddik, and most recent in the line, starting from the Baal Shem Tov and what became known as Chabad Hasidus. And they talked about the periods of darkness and then light, and then darkness and then light. And at this time of darkness, there's also this tremendous light that is coming out. And it was so uplifting, so transformative, but it was this core thing that it's so essential for us to go deep inside, to contact that inner light, that inner stillness, and bring that into the world. And that is what so much motivates me about the Chabad movement, inspires me, because it's bringing this light, this stillness into the world. So thank you for what you're doing. And for all of our listeners, in this time of great fragmentation and chaos, it's never been more important than to control the controllables, as this famous mental conditioning coach at the University of Michigan, Greg Harden, used to say. He passed away, unfortunately. I was very close with a friend of mine, Jonathan Sostovsky, who was also on this podcast. Control the controllables. And what's the controllable is our emotional reaction. And we don't think about that. We think that we can't control that. But that's the one thing we can control, is our inner reaction. And to control that and to bring ourselves to a place of wholeness and unity.
Absolutely. And, you know, I've had the privilege of working with many, many different cultures over my career, this career. Deep down, we all have the same needs. Deep down, deep down, we're all experiencing this human condition. All of us. You know, some are more lost than others. Some are more fragmented than others. Some are more challenged than others because of their own history and environment, all of that. And I think we lose sight of that. I think we lose sight of that sometimes. Do I work slightly differently with different cultures? Absolutely. We're wired differently. We have different lineage. We have different wounding and trauma. But underneath these layers, it's the human condition we're all sharing.
So it's very, very interesting what you're saying. And, I'm a big student of Torah, and I believe Torah is divinely ordained. What people read on the surface, it's multi-layered, it's very deep, it's very complex. We're still trying to understand what Torah really means. It's coded, it's all these different levels. But we're learning about these stories, these archetypes from thousands of years ago. And it's still so relevant today.
Absolutely.
Because you talk about human nature, the need for unity, how to deal with conflict, how to understand the meaning of life, how to deal with the struggle within ourselves of what we would say the animal soul, the selfish motivation, the me versus the us, the part of me that's connected to everything. And how do we manage through that? And as you said, me too, having lived in India, studied Eastern philosophy for 25 years and understood Shaivite philosophy, non-dualistic philosophy, all different philosophies and traditions of the East. Of course, some of it bridges into the West now. Of course, we live in a global village, so Hinduism and Buddhism and Zen and Islam, Judaism, Christianity, all of this is in a sense at this highest level points to this inner work. Like I was reading this work of this incredible Institute of Virtue that's based in Abu Dhabi, of which AJC is a part of, and this imam talks all about the inner virtues and how important it is, and that the term jihad, which of course has been taken and distorted and twisted, but the true jihad is the inner work of working on your character to refine oneself, to develop oneself in the best way possible to bring one to a place of harmony and peace and coexistence. And anyway, I'm off on a riff on that, but
I understand the riff.
you made me think about that portion. So we do look at, as you said, incredible fragmentation. How do we take this wisdom that you have, that Torah has, that we're sharing here with others, and impact as many people as possible? How do we start changing the world in a way so that the fragmentation doesn't bring us to a place of cataclysm like it has time and time and time again through history? We're unable to, so you have a war, and the war it's cataclysmic.
Again, wonderful question. I mean, the only thing I know is that once we find wholeness within ourselves, that unity, that sense of unity, we do radiate it. Is it enough? I don't know. Is it ever enough? I think there's, something you said before, I'm going to reference again in the first episode when you said, you get on an airplane and, it's like, it could go down. I think we always have to be cognizant of that. Does it become cataclysmic? We really don't know. We could just do our best. We could just start at that place where we have our full potential. And I do believe that comes from our place of unity. And from that, I think the creative process takes over. That is, first of all, it's very charismatic. People will listen. People will hear you. There is a sense of presence that comes along with that place of unity. People say to me sometimes, nobody hears me. It's like, okay, why aren't you being heard? what part of you is not allowing you to be heard? You know, because I believe that once we're present and once we have a practice of having this sense of unity within, we're heard, we're seen, you know, we're listened to. And whether you're just, you know, contacting one person a day, 2 people a day, or as I said before, you're in front of a group of 1,000 people, things that spreads because the resonance of that, the vibration of that is what everybody is seeking underneath it all.
I love that. And I'm listening to you. And again, it's a reminder of constantly turn it back in. Mm-hmm. So I'm listening to you, listening to me, and I hear in me my negative voice. Uh-huh. No one's going to follow the podcast. It's not going to really make a difference. And within that, in the process of trying to bring light out, I have this, would you call it self-judgment?
Well, I'd call it child consciousness.
Okay. So,
all or nothing.
So talk to us a little bit about that, because I know that's a big theme of your work.
Because again, duality is this place of either everybody's going to watch the podcast or nobody's going to watch it. What's in between that? Is in between that, okay, there will be enough people, and they maybe will tell other people, right? You said nobody.
Right.
Do you really believe nobody is going to watch the podcast? But again, we go to these young split places of duality. Is it everything or nothing? What's in between there? What's enough? What is enough?
So I love that. So you're talking about the child conscious, and I have the little Arnie and the bigger Arnie, and it's part of the work that we've done. And I think that's a great metaphor for people to be working with as we, I think you've said, reparent ourselves to understand where it is we're holding in a limited, contracted place that no longer serves us, to move into an empowered place, the adult consciousness, and that continues to play itself out. Doesn't matter whether you're 10 years old or 100 years old.
It's automatic. It is automatic, and we've been so our process of growing up and living in the world. Everything we see is held dualistically. How much is really held in unity? Things are good. Things are bad. Things are right. Things are wrong. We have all of something. We have nothing. It's there all the time, you know, and it's reinforced all the time. And we go there pretty, as you just did, pretty automatically. And then, you know, so you catch it. And it's like, really? Nobody?
And I think that the child consciousness automatically puts us into this state of stress and turmoil because you feel, a child feels disempowered.
Right, because there's nothing in between that all or nothing. There's nothing in between it.
So another concept that you've talked about is no one does anything to you. No one makes you feel X. Like, so we talk so-and-so made me angry. So-and-so made me sad.
Who's got the power there?
The other person. Right. So we've got a world of people who are very sad and very angry. Could you talk about that for a second?
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, that's the challenging part, is that so much of what we see happening is child consciousness. You know, I work a lot with couples, you know, and you see this a lot. You made me feel bad. You know, if you loved me, you would do this, you would do that. You know, it's interesting what comes up just in that relationship between two people. And then we talk about the greater world, right? But even between two people, sometimes it's like we make others responsible for what we feel. They're not. We feel what we feel.
And we make them responsible. We think that's a good move. But what it is we're taking the power outside of ourselves.
Exactly.
So we see this. I see this with my wife and I when we rarely happens, but we do have some disputes sometimes. Sometimes it's the little Arnie and the little Suzanne. You know, it's like, that's it. What happens is when someone gets into their child consciousness, oftentimes it triggers the other person.
Always.
So it's like a mirroring. So it's the same reason. You could be in the best mood driving down the road, listening to great music, someone cuts you off, and they're angry, and all of a sudden you're in a rage. How does that happen? Because their contractedness has now triggered yours, and it's happened so quickly. So being able to slow it down and separate that is enormously powerful. So again, key themes. One is the whole essence of feeling unity is bringing the power back within yourself. And within each one of us is a place of wholeness, a place of unity, a place of power, a place of calm. It's what we're really looking for. And from there, we're able to have a tremendous impact into the world. And when we're feeling disconnected, understand everything that's happening in the world is nothing but a mirror of what we are projecting outward. And to, again, turn back within, moment to moment, to develop our muscles to be able to, again, be the light and shine that light into the world with a sense of joy.
Well said.
And sense of joy. Joy D'Andrea, thank you so much.
Thank
you have the
you,
perfect
Arnie.
name because you do, through this work, bring about so much joy for people. And I think at a time of angst and escape and fragmentation, you are showing people a pathway to themselves that brings forth the essence of, I think, a lot of spiritual, psychological, and healing traditions of wholeness within oneself. So thank you so much for being here. And I hope to have you again as a guest on our podcast, Habits of a Whole Heart. Thank you to our listeners. My name is Arnie Herz. Again, this is Habits of a Whole Heart as part of the Humanity Matters series on hmTV. Please tune in and share this podcast and the other podcasts with other people. It is really our attempt to bring light into this world and to help bring people together to help humanity advance in the best way possible. Have a great day.